Hello, America. Anyone? Anyone? It's Sean Bianca, GOP girl, and True News. And I'm just off the tennis court, so pardon my attire. But I do have my Trump 45 hat on, considering at work I'm not allowed to wear the Make America Great Again hat. But that's another story. Okay, the reason why I had to come out and talk to everyone is because there is a story trending on Twitter and Facebook right now that I, yours truly, reported on last August. I wrote a blog, The Clintons, the most corrupt, the most politically corrupt couple. If only corpses could talk, ... If only corpses would talk, could talk, what would they say? Seth Rich, that's what everyone's talking about. Seth Rich was the murdered DNC staffer. He was murdered on July 10th, 2016. It is thought that he was about to give, that he did give Wikileaks 20,000 emails. It is those 20,000 emails that contributed to the removal of Debbie Wasserman Schultz as the DNC chairman. Now, Seth Rich was murdered in an affluent DC neighborhood. He was shot in cold blood. He was shot by two people. How do we know that? Well, Seth Rich's parents seem to know that. And I also read that. How anyone knows that he was shot by two people is beyond me, but they do. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Seth Rich was not robbed. His wallet was not taken. Seth Rich's watch was not taken. Seth Rich was murdered in cold blood. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that Seth Rich was a supporter of Bernie Sanders. It is thought that Seth Rich was on his way the next day to the FBI with all of the knowledge he had. As he was the operations director for the Democrats, he had knowledge of the inner workings. He was the operations director for the DNC. He had knowledge of the inner workings of what went on. He knew his candidate, Bernie Sanders, had lost due to the corruption within the Democratic Party. Now, Seth Rich was murdered. Nobody cared. Nobody really reported on it. Julian Assange put up a $20,000 reward shortly after he was killed. Now, Sean Hannity did ask Julian Assange if Seth Rich was an informant, if he was a source, and he would not admit to whether or not he was. Well, I mean, it doesn't take much to figure it out. Why would Julian Assange care about Seth Rich if he wasn't a source? Newt Gingrich is now calling for a thorough investigation into this man's murder. Now, in my blog, which I want you to all read, and I've done a short blog. I know a lot of people don't like to read at length. This is a short blog. There were 6 people in 2016 that were murdered. Oh, oops. There were 6 people in 2016 that mysteriously died. Actually, it started in April. April 18th, 2016. John Jones, the attorney for Julian Assange. He supposedly stepped in front of a train and committed suicide. He had 2 children. His mother said, regardless of his being a manic depressive, he would never, ever commit suicide. John Ash, on June 22nd, 2016, former United Nations General Assembly president, he was supposed to testify regarding Hillary's links to Chinese businessman Naplep Singh. He's the one that supposedly died due to a barbell falling on his esophagus. Okay. Then Seth Rich was killed in an affluent neighborhood, nothing taken. Joe Montano on July was a busy month. On July 25th, 2016, he was a close aide to Tim Kaine. He was extremely excited about going to the Democratic National Convention. He was all packed, ready to go. He, at the age of 47, had a heart attack. Now, I don't know if many of you know this, but there are many things that can be given to someone that will cause heart attacks. It will make people look like they had a heart attack. Now, hey, it might not have been the case, but it just seems odd, as Joe Montana had, it is said, or it is rumored, that Joe Montano had pertinent information and knew way too much. Sean Lucas, this is one that really is suspicious. Sean Lucas, he was all of 38 years old. His girlfriend found him dead in the shower. Sean Lucas died on August 2nd, 2016. He was the process server for due process, and he was delivering a class action lawsuit against the Democratic National Committee and former chairman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He did a live video because he was so excited about serving the DNC. His live video, at the time that I posted it on my blog, which I've attached here, had over 400,000 views. He ended up dead. Victor Thorne, he was the last one. He died August 1st, 2016 on his birthday. Supposedly, Victor Thorne, who was a Clinton critic and researcher, he had done several books on the Clintons, supposedly he shot himself several times. Now, I don't know. I would think you take a gun and point it at your head, or I would think that would do the trick. I wouldn't think one could shoot themselves several times. Maybe one can live, but he shot himself several times. I think personally, the FBI should look into all of these murders along with Judge Scalia. Judge Scalia, I'm sorry. I don't think it was an accident, or I don't think he died of natural causes. Former President Obama came out way too quickly before Judge Scalia was even cold. And that was a blog that I also did. President Obama came out, he was right there to jump on it, asking for an immediate replacement for Judge Scalia. And the family, of course, said they agreed with everything. However, he was embalmed before they could even possibly do a thorough coronary. No, I'm sorry. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but autopsy on him. So before they did an autopsy to find out why Judge Scalia really died, no, he was embalmed. Personally, I want to be embalmed when I'm completely dead and when everyone knows what's wrong with me. Yes, I see someone's comment, he had a pillow over his head. Yes. I don't think it was accidental. Everyone, this is a story that's trending, and I'm just a little bitter because I wrote this on August 27th, 2016. If only corpses could talk. It's a good blog. I implore you to read it. Just quickly on another subject, President Trump did an outstanding job today in his delivery of a speech that is truly historic. On Twitter, I know there are some Trump followers that are somewhat upset because they feel he's gone against what he campaigned on. And yes, I get it. President Trump spoke out against Muslims and the religion of Islam, and here he is, and he wants to work together with Muslims. And Saudi Arabia, CNN is touting it as a conservative country, a conservative Muslim country. Well, Saudi Arabia is not a conservative Muslim country. It is a Muslim country. It is a country where women have no rights. It is a country where if you steal, your hand is chopped off in the middle of a square, and then they cauterize it, and you hear a man scream bloody murder. Saudi Arabia is a country where gays are thrown off of buildings. Saudi Arabia is not any less radical than any other Muslim. The religion of Islam is not conservative like they're not. However, Saudi Arabia did not like President Obama, former President Obama. And I think that speaks volumes. The king of Saudi Arabia did not so much as even greet former President Obama at the airport. Again, speaks volumes. President Trump spoke today, I'm working with Saudi Arabia and other Muslim nations, working with them against terrorism. And that's worth something. He's not there to tell them how to live their lives. We may not agree with it, but as we don't want Muslims coming into our country, telling us how to live our lives and telling us that we should live by Sharia law, it's not up to the President of the United States to go into Saudi Arabia and give a speech on how they should live their lives. We may not like it, we may not agree with it. However, $300 billion going into arms to Saudi Arabia, going into jobs for everyone, thousands of jobs will be created from this. And I can't say I would not mistrust them just a little bit. However, if we can work together with them, I say it's a good thing. It's a great thing. So for everyone that is against President Trump on this, again, I want you to point out, and you can point out to your friends that are against Trump on this, Saudi Arabia disliked President Obama, who was, like it or not, a friend to ISIS. He did fund and train ISIS against Assad. All right, everyone, please read my blog, as it is the story that's trending, and it's one that I hit on first. And I'll also post on my page, GOP Girl. I will post also on that my Judge Scalia blog as well. I believe the title was Not Even Cold. There's something fishy going on, and now that Comey's gone, perhaps the truth will come out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night, and read my blog at gopgirlblog.blogspot.com. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.